Welcome back, deep divers. Ever feel like your phone is kind of speaking a different language?
It does, doesn't it?
Today, we're translating that tech jargon. We're diving deep into all those essential features of your mobile device.
We're talking about going beyond just knowing how to use your phone, but like actually understanding the why behind the how.
Exactly. And we're going to kick things off with the foundation of our digital lives, cellular data. You know, those kind of cryptic little letters that are always clinging to your signal bars, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. We're demystifying what they actually mean for you.
Because it goes, beyond just faster is better.
Right.
Sometimes faster isn't actually what's best.
Yeah, that's true.
It depends. For your battery life or even your wallet,
Yeah, that's a good point.
depending on your data plan and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So let's break it down. We all know 5G. That's the current gold standard. But how did we even get here?
Well, picture this.
Okay.
2G. That was like the stone age of mobile internet.
Oh.
You were lucky if you could, send a text and not have it take 5 minutes.
And forget about even thinking about watching a video back then. Right?
Exactly. Then came 3G,
Okay.
which, at the time felt like a massive leap forward. Suddenly we could actually, browse the web, check email on the go.
Yeah, it was a game changer for sure. So when did things really take off in terms of speed?
4G.
Oh.
Or sometimes it's called LTE.
Right.
That was a true revolution. That's when we finally broke free from, buffering screens and those laggy downloads. 4G made it possible to actually enjoy, streaming videos, playing online games, downloading, large files all on your phone.
Right. Okay. So 4G ushered in, the era of on-demand entertainment, but 5G promises to be even faster. Yeah.
Think of it this way. 5G is like the difference between taking a cross-country road trip and hopping on a high-speed train.
Wow.
It's about instantaneous responses, lightning-fast downloads. We're talking about a whole new world of possibilities for, things like mobile gaming and augmented reality.
Okay, now that's impressive. But you mentioned earlier that faster isn't always better for battery life.
Right.
What's the deal with that?
Well, it's all about understanding how these networks actually operate. 5G, while it is incredibly fast, it can be a bit of a battery hog.
Oh.
Especially if you're in an area with kind of spotty 5G coverage, because your phone is constantly searching for that strongest signal, and all that searching just drains your battery life faster.
Oh, that makes sense.
So here's a pro tip. If you know you're going to be in an area with good Wi-Fi, or if you just need to, conserve battery, just switch your phone to 4G.
Okay.
Or even LTE.
Okay.
Yeah, it might seem a little counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but your battery will thank you.
I love that tip. So it's not always about chasing the newest, shiniest network, but it's about being strategic, right?
Exactly.
And using the network that's best for your needs at that moment.
Exactly.
That's great.
Now, while we're on the topic of kind of maximizing your mobile experience,
Yes.
let's talk about a little feature called hotspot.
Okay.
Think of it as having a mini internet provider right in your pocket.
Okay. That sounds both incredibly useful and slightly magical. How does that even work?
It's surprisingly straightforward.
Okay.
Your phone basically creates its own Wi-Fi network
Oh, wow.
using your cellular data.
Okay.
So let's say you're at a coffee shop, the Wi-Fi there is terrible, or you're on a road trip and you need to get some work done on your laptop.
Right.
You can just turn on your phone's hotspot and then connect your other devices to it.
That is so handy. It's like having a portable Wi-Fi router
Precisely.
wherever you go.
And it's way more secure than using public Wi-Fi,
Oh, that's a good point.
which, often leaves your data a little vulnerable.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, before we move on to Bluetooth, there's one more thing I want to touch on.
Okay.
Just for, a well-rounded understanding of this whole cellular data thing.
Okay.
You might have heard the acronyms GSM and CDMA thrown around. Most people, they don't need to get bogged down in the technical nitty-gritty.
Right.
But the key thing to remember is that these are two different network technologies.
So two different languages that phones can speak.
Exactly. GSM is kind of like the globally spoken language of mobile phones.
Okay.
It uses SIM cards.
Right.
Those little chips that store your phone number and your network information.
Right.
To access the network. CDMA is a bit more, I'd say, region specific. It doesn't rely on SIM cards in the same way.
So if you're like traveling internationally and you need to switch out SIM cards,
Exactly.
it's because of these different
Yeah.
.network technologies.
You'll need to have a phone and a SIM card that are both compatible with that GSM network that's used in that country.
Okay.
Most modern phones, now they are compatible with both GSM and CDMA networks, but it's always good to just double check.
Right.
Especially if you're, traveling off the beaten path.
Great advice. Okay, so let's move beyond cellular data for a moment and talk about another wireless wonder, Bluetooth.
It's more than just for your headphones, although that's certainly a popular use.
Well, that's what I'm here for,
Right.
to uncover the hidden depths of these features that we use every day.
Right.
So, spill the Bluetooth secrets. What else can it do? Okay, so beyond headphones, what kind of Bluetooth magic are we talking about here?
Well, think about like wireless keyboards for your tablet.
Oh, okay.
You can turn it into like a mini workstation.
It's a good point.
Or, maybe you're a fitness buff.
Right.
Bluetooth lets you sync your smartwatch or your fitness tracker to your phone.
Okay.
So you can track your progress, even control your music without missing a beat.
The Bluetooth is all about like creating that seamless connected experience across all your devices.
Exactly. And one of the, I think, coolest but often misunderstood aspects of Bluetooth is its ability to actually create like a multi-device audio setup.
Oh.
Imagine this. You're watching a movie on your tablet,
Okay.
but you kind of want that like cinematic surround sound experience.
Right.
Well, with Bluetooth 5.0 and its extended range,
Okay.
you can connect multiple Bluetooth speakers
Oh, wow.
throughout your room, create your own like immersive home theater.
Now that's what I call a deep dive pro tip. It's like having
Yeah.
like a hidden superpower
Right.
in your pocket, or should I say in your Bluetooth settings.
Right. Now, I know pairing devices can sometimes feel like a bit of a tech tango,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be a struggle. The key is understanding pairing mode.
Okay, break it down for us. What's the secret to hassle-free pairing?
So the key is to make sure that both devices are simultaneously shouting, "Hey, I'm here, let's connect."
Okay.
You usually do this by going into the Bluetooth settings on, both devices and making them like discoverable or pairable. Think of it like you're setting up like a blind date for your devices. They need to be able to like see each other before they can actually pair up.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Yeah.
So once they've like found each other, is that when that whole PIN code thing comes into play?
Exactly. Some devices might ask for a PIN code like as a secret handshake
Right.
to confirm the connection. But here's the thing.
Okay.
You usually don't need to overthink it. The default PIN code is often like 000000 or 1234.
Right.
And honestly, unless you're like dealing with highly sensitive information,
Right.
sticking with the default is perfectly fine.
Got it. So when in doubt, keep it simple, stick with the defaults.
Right?
Now, speaking of things that kind of know how to find us,
Yeah.
let's talk about location services.
Right.
It's incredible how our phones always seem to know exactly where we are,
Yeah.
even if we've never even been there before.
It's all thanks to a powerful duo working behind the scenes, GPS and cellular location services.
Okay, so GPS, that's like the global positioning superstar, right? The one that like helps us navigate unfamiliar streets and
Yeah.
avoid getting like hopelessly lost.
Exactly. GPS uses a network of satellites that are orbiting Earth
Wow.
to pinpoint your location with incredible accuracy. It's what powers your navigation apps, tells you the nearest coffee shop, helps you find your friends when they're MIA at a music festival.
It's like having a personal guide in our pockets.
Yeah.
But what about cellular location services? Is that like GPS's lesser known sidekick?
Not quite. Cellular location services,
Okay.
they're like the resourceful friend
Okay.
who always knows a shortcut.
Okay.
So instead of relying on satellites, it uses cell tower signals to approximate your location.
So it's not as precise as GPS.
Exactly. It's more of a general "you are here" kind of thing.
Okay.
But it uses less battery power than GPS.
Okay, that makes sense.
So your phone might actually switch to cellular location if it's having trouble getting a strong GPS signal.
Oh.
Like, let's say you're in like a densely wooded area or a concrete building.
Right.
Think of it as like a battery-saving backup plan.
That's really helpful to know. So it's about finding that balance, right,
Mhm.
between precision and battery life.
Right.
Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about a topic that might seem a little more, shall we say, buttoned up, MDM and MAM.
Yeah,
I'll admit those acronyms always sound a bit intimidating to me.
they do, don't they? But I like to think of it this way. Imagine your work phone is like a company car.
Okay.
They provide it to you, but they also, set some rules to keep it secure
Right.
and make sure that it's being used appropriately.
Right.
That's essentially what MDM and MAM are all about.
Okay, that's a much less intimidating way to think about it.
Yeah,
So MDM is like the company's way of kind of ensuring their car, or rather their phone, is being driven responsibly.
exactly. MDM stands for Mobile Device Management,
Okay.
and it's a way for companies to remotely manage and secure the mobile devices that their employees are using for work. It starts with something as simple as, like, your corporate email setup.
Ah, so that's why we always have to go through those like seemingly endless email setup procedures with iKey.
Exactly. MDM allows those IT administrators to remotely configure your email account
Okay.
on your device, and it ensures that it meets like company security standards
Right.
and that sensitive information is protected. And remember, two-factor authentication.
Yes.
That extra layer of security where you need to like get a code from a text message or an app.
Right.
That's also often part of MDM.
So MDM is basically like having a tech-savvy bodyguard
Exactly.
for your work phone.
Now, MAM, or Mobile Application Management,
Okay.
that's like MDM's app-focused sibling.
Right.
It's all about controlling which apps can be installed on a device.
Okay.
Companies use this to create a list of like pre-approved apps
Right.
that they deem essential for work, while also kind of restricting the installation of anything that could pose a security risk
Right.
or be a productivity black hole.
So it's about like keeping things efficient and secure,
Mhm.
especially in a world where, we rely so heavily on our mobile devices for work.
Absolutely. And speaking of relying on our devices,
Yes.
let's talk about a feature that helps keep our digital lives organized and in sync.
You mean syncing.
Yes.
Tell me more. I have to admit, I sometimes take for granted how seamlessly, like my contacts, my calendars, even my notes, stay updated across my phone, my tablet, and my computer.
It's a modern marvel, isn't it?
It really is.
Syncing simply means keeping your data consistent
Okay.
across multiple devices.
Okay.
So you add a new contact on your phone, boom, it magically appears on your other devices as well.
It's like having a personal assistant who's like updating everything simultaneously.
Right.
And there are like a few major players in the syncing world, right?
Right.
Like Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, and iCloud.
You're exactly right. Each of those ecosystems has its own approach to syncing.
So tell us, what are the key differences? And more importantly, which ones should we be using? So we've got these different like syncing universes, each with their own like gravitational pull. What are the key differences? And more importantly, which one should we be using?
Well, it really depends on like your digital ecosystem.
Okay.
If you're, deeply entrenched in the Microsoft world, you're using Outlook for email, Calendar for scheduling,
Right.
then Microsoft 365, that's your natural habitat.
Okay.
It just ensures that all your emails, your contacts, your calendars, they're always in sync across your devices.
So it's about sticking with kind of what, and using the tools that integrate seamlessly with your workflow. What about Google Workspace?
Google Workspace, that's like the social butterfly of the syncing world,
Okay.
plays well with a wide range of devices and operating systems.
Okay.
If you live and breathe Gmail, you rely on Google Calendar to manage your appointments,
Right.
or you're collaborating with colleagues on like Google Docs. Google Workspace, that's your syncing soulmate.
It's like having that central hub, right?
Exactly.
All things Google.
Keeps everything nice and streamlined.
Okay, I like it. Now we can't forget about Apple users. Where does iCloud fit into all of this?
iCloud is like the VIP lounge of the Apple ecosystem.
Okay.
It's designed to create that seamless experience across all your Apple devices. We're talking syncing everything from your mail and contacts to your photos, notes, even your app data.
Wow. So if you're like an all-in Apple aficionado, iCloud is your go-to syncing solution.
Pretty much.
But here's a question that's been on my mind. With all this syncing happening behind the scenes, could we run into any like data hiccups? Especially when we're syncing like large files like photos and videos.
That's a great question. And it brings us to a topic that often causes a bit of anxiety: data caps.
Ah, yes, data caps.
Those are essentially limits on how much data you can use on your cellular plan each month.
Right, data caps. The
Yeah.
silent drain on our mobile wallets. So how can we avoid kind of exceeding these caps, especially when we are syncing these large files over cellular?
Knowledge is power, my friend.
Right.
The first step is to be aware of, what your data limit actually is.
Okay.
Most cellular providers have apps or websites where you can keep track of your usage.
Okay.
And here's a pro tip. Dive into your phone's settings
Okay.
and customize how your apps actually use data.
Right.
You can actually choose to allow syncing only when you're connected to Wi-Fi,
Oh,
which is usually unlimited in most places.
that's a great tip. So we can basically create a Wi-Fi only rule
Exactly.
for those data hungry apps and prevent them from sneaking in those extra charges.
Mhm.
Any other kind of strategies for keeping our data usage in check?
Absolutely. Many apps allow you to adjust their syncing frequency.
Okay.
So you might not need your emails syncing every 5 seconds.
Right. Yeah. You're right, actually.
You can set them to update a little less frequently. Or even manually, just to kind of conserve that data.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from the evolution of cellular data to the intricacies of syncing. As we kind of wrap up our mobile device deep dive,
Right.
what's one key takeaway that you hope our listeners walk away with?
I think the most important thing is to remember your mobile device, it's a tool.
Okay.
And like any tool, understanding how it works allows you to use it more effectively.
Right.
So don't be afraid to explore your settings,
Right.
customize your experience,
Yeah.
make your device work for you.
I love that. It's about taking control of our tech rather than letting it control us. Right.
Seriously.
And I think we've gone from network newbies to connectivity connoisseurs today.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you've picked up some valuable tips and tricks along the way. But here's a final thought to ponder as you navigate our kind of increasingly digital world. As we entrust more and more of our lives to these devices, it's essential to find that balance. That balance between convenience and intention. Make sure you're using your phone as a tool for connection, for enrichment, rather than letting it become a distraction from the world around you. Until next time, happy connecting, and remember to disconnect every now and then too.